Hey there folks, welcome to this video, and here I'm going to be talking about news of the world of Formula 1, and it is good news. Chase Carey released a statement saying that they're targeting a 15 to 18 round 2020 calendar starting in Austria at the Red Bull Ring on the 5th of July. Speculation has also said that there will be a second Austrian Grand Prix as well as a second British Grand Prix in the weeks following the original race dates as well. The targeted 2020 calendar shows that they plan to be in Europe over the course of July and August before moving further to the east and through Asia over September, October, before going around into the Americas for October and November and finishing in the Middle East with Bahrain and Abu Dhabi in December. And what we're going to talk about is a couple of bits around the calendar, a bit of speculation, and a couple of points. Firstly, I want to say this is a good idea for a calendar, and I think this should be generally what the F1 calendar is like. That there should be a European leg, an Asian leg, an Americas leg, and a kind of leg in the Gulf as well. That's just generally, like, it could be that we have, say, start off in Asia. Of course, I mean that Japan would be kind of offset from its traditional later season place, but it would mean that you'd be able to have Australia, China, Vietnam, Japan all in one go. Then you do Europe, then you do the Americas, and then you can do the Gulf. But that's for the future. That's to talk about the current situation. This comes after the cancellation of the French Grand Prix. So, in terms of what races we've got, as of right now, there are 12 Grand Prix. Basically, all the ones after the Austrian Grand Prix as well, that are still scheduled to have their current race dates. Though Belgium is up in the air because I believe there's still a ban on mass gathering is in place until September. And this is the thing that's going to be important. With rumours that Austria and Britain are going to be hosting multiple races. Of course, these are likely going to be on the same layout as the regular race, just on an extra weekend. Of course, also behind closed doors because of preventative measures. You might ask, why don't we go to other Grade 1 circuits? I would say that perhaps one that we should look at is, and you might hate me for saying this, one like Bahrain, where you have so many different layouts which are to the FIA Grade 1 standard. You could use the old endurance layout, you could use the outfield circuit, which I think would be pretty cool. Also bring a bit of variety to the calendar. But regardless, out of the 12 races that are, or the 12 rounds, shall I say, that are still scheduled, is there a chance that any of these could be cancelled? Well, I've already talked about Belgium. You'd also have to monitor the situation in Italy as well. It sounds almost sacrilegious, an F1 calendar without Italy or the British Grand Prix, especially without Monza, given that it's been on the calendar for all but one of F1's seasons. But if the situation around the world is still very much the same, and if it doesn't improve much in Italy as well, out of the sake of safety, there might not be an Italian Grand Prix this year. Likewise, I think there might be question marks over the Singapore Grand Prix for similar reasons. And potentially, I mean, it's much further down the line, the United States Grand Prix. And then we have to look at where could we slot in other races. We have to rule out Monaco, Paul Ricard, and probably Albert Park as well, because they seem to all be cancelled. You have to put serious question marks over the reintroduction of Grand Prix such as the Chinese Grand Prix, Vietnamese Grand Prix, and Spanish Grand Prix. But I don't see why Grand Prix like the Azerbaijan Grand Prix and the Canadian Grand Prix can't be reintroduced. Especially with the way that the calendar's being moved around a bit as well. It would make sense for these ones to be reintroduced at these kinds of times. Because whilst it might be a bit of a headache and you end up with some kind of triple header in North and Central America with Canada, the United States and Mexico, all three of them are absolutely solid races. It means that teams don't have to worry about flying people back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. They can just keep the paddock condensed into one, like, moving party, like a kind of moving circus in a way. And I think that would be something that would be quite sought after, really. But it's all up in the air still. We have to remember this is an ever-developing situation. But at the same time, I look forward to F1 going racing again. The idea of 2 Austrian Grand Prix would be a brilliant way to start off the season, because it means that Mercedes probably won't be leading the title until, the 4th Grand Prix, because they'll have to make up for problems with the Austrian Grand Prix, because, well, historically they haven't exactly had the best of runnings there. And I don't know, I'm putting Chamber's video in the description down below to talk about tracks with alternative layouts and the potential to run circuits backwards, but I don't think circuits will likely be ran backwards, at least not this season. And I would like to see experimentations with other layouts to try and make it more interesting, though of course with the first 2 races, the Austrian Grand Prix and the British Grand Prix, that isn't exactly the most feasible. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for joining me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button, especially if you don't agree with me. You can tell me why you don't agree in the comment section. Please subscribe just to stay in the loop about any kind of motorsport news. I'm also talking about sim racing stuff at the moment. And you can hit the bell notification to be notified of any future videos and when I go live for any kind of live stream. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.